you to see me again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When?
Meet me at the dance.
Hello, good evening, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to the Overwatch Watchers Brawl. This is 3.007. I'm joined by Sir Waltham, and we have a great match for y'all tonight.
Absolutely, we do. Glad to be back, by the way. I feel like it's been a while since I've been at the casting booth, as I like to call it, or table, depending on what day you catch me on. But today we have a game between Team Spirit and Magna Ignis. Now, these two teams looking pretty good so far. They're in the losers bracket, but both looking to claw their way back. I'm really excited to be getting into this action. But as most of you know, before we do have a little bit of a preview interview for all of you at home. And once again, it's going to be the coach, I believe, for Magna Ignis. Final, how you feeling today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty all right. Hoping that these two teams, yours and Spirit, going to be able to show us quite the competition moving forward. How's your team feeling? You guys pretty ready?
Yeah, I gave them a pre-game pep talk. Told them we're gonna put in all of our effort to be able to win this.
I feel that is what. Now, give me a peek into your kind of coaching style. What does a pre-game pep talk from Final look like? Is it strategy based? Is it rah? What's it like?
It's very rah. Basically, yell at them, tell them that they can do this. Focus on their game plan. Make sure that they're have all the energy that they need to be able to play through the game, play around each other.
Perfect. I think that's exactly what a team can use sometimes. Do you guys have you guys done any research on Spirit, or I guess more so you as that coaching role? Have you kind of studied your opponents, or are you guys just going into this doing your own thing?
We've looked at our opponents. Not too worried about them. We know certain players on the enemy team. We've scrimmed them before, so we think we're kind of prepped to be able to beat them.
Okay, well, right on. Like hearing that confidence. You've scrimmed the entirety of Spirit before?
No. We've scrimmed against Storm before when he was on his Tuspa team.
Oh, okay.
Also played in LAN with them, so it'll be fun to see my team go up against them.
It's one of those old town rivalries, is what I'm calling it, regardless of whether it's actually a rivalry or not, or just a familiar face. You can't get it out of my head now. It's in there. Final. I'm sorry. That's just how I'm going to write the storyline. But I think we're looking forward to this. Do you think there's anybody we can kind of look forward to? A couple of these names seem pretty familiar from the last time we saw you guys up here. Anybody you think going to really be trying to stand out for that MVP spot for the Twitch vote?
The whole team basically is just an MVP vote, in my opinion. I don't think anybody generally stands out from one another. We're very team based.
I like that. I like teams that are kind of more wholesome. They're not just all linchpinned on one player. But I think we're ready to see the action kind of speak for itself. So I think we're going to be hopping into it here in just a short moment. Final, good luck to your team, and thank you for coming in here and answering a couple questions.
Thank you.
Best of luck out there. Now, we are going to be starting here on Lijiang Tower. We talk about it a lot. It seems like it's one of our most common starting maps. How do you feel about it?
It's a love-hate relationship. Right now, I think we're seeing other people. But we used to have quite the passion back in the day, and I'm curious if we can reignite that flame. I don't know if we can. It's going to be up to Spirit and Magna Ignis, and especially if we go all the distance to all 3 rounds. And also, if we don't, then what 2 maps we get to play on?
Yeah, absolutely. We talk about, a couple of these special character picks that can come through here. My heart will always burn for the Pharah pick on Gardens, but that always seems kind of like a grab bag. I always feel super confident that some teams are going to run it, and then it doesn't really quite happen. And then, we always have that May pick on the command center, where, it can be run to some effectiveness. It can also be pretty detrimental if the May is substituted for the D.Va and it doesn't quite use that May wall to its full effect.
Yeah, there it is, and it's all super fun with getting that May out there. How do you say it? I feel like every once in a while when we see that May pick, it's never mirrored on both sides. It's always one team possibly running that May, and they either get curb stomped or the May wall is used to fantastic effect.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, we're going to have to set whether 3.007 is right about that or not, because now we're going on to the night market, speaking of that potential Pharah pick.
Yeah, night market's probably the middle table map for seeing that Pharah pick. You certainly don't see it in the command center as much. Garden's probably one of the more common ones, but I think we're going to see it potentially come to some fruition here. From what I saw at the very beginning, I'm thinking Pyro the Tank might be leaning a little bit towards Hammond. At least that's what I saw at the very, very front, but I don't want to get the wall and 3 bait that most teams try to pull onto us. I've learned, guys. Magna, I see you pulling those heroes. I'm gonna wait for you guys to roll out a spawn, or at least until the countdown's like 3 seconds from it.
Yeah, I haven't learned. So this is gonna be fun. All right, so okay, we've got ally on Zeus, ally on Zeus. Good lord, that'd be interesting. Ally on the Genji, and this looks like a very interesting composition. We have the Sombra and dive tanks, but a Moira. Oh, I'm happy about this. I am super pumped to see what Magna Ignis is gonna do with this one.
Yeah, I always like a little bit of shake up here, but it doesn't look like that's going to quite be the case. Ali switching back onto that brig, not wanting to go onto the Shimada brother too early.
Yep, and wow, oh wow, no, that is a very hasty retreat back to spawn. We have a comp switch on our hands. Lucio is not going to, or rather, Ally is definitely going to be sticking on the brig, but it looks like they're abandoning the Winston in favor of a Rhine v Rhine.
Yeah, now we're going to be seeing the standard triple, the Zenyatta going in as that third support. Oftentimes we'll see that kind of debated between Moira, Ana, and Zenyatta, but it looks like they're going with the Buddhist, or the Omnic Monk.
Now it's interesting, Magna made it back to the point in time to initiate a contest, but it looks like they weren't willing to go in full brawl mode with Spirit, who have taken the percentage first, and yes, Hanako going to be the first to fall to Spirit as Rafiki grabs that Fire Strike kill onto the discording Mastermind, and it's going to be an all-out brawl now outside the point, but Rafiki's the one that goes down first, and I'd rather have a main tank than a Zenyatta.
Yeah, absolutely. Zenyatta can provide a large amount of damage here, but that main tank able to buy so much space. Speaking of space, we're going to see Ali just get right into the face of things, charging in, going to be popping that rally. We'll see how it shakes out.
Yeah, really interesting. Early trans going out very quickly. Neither of the Zaryas has their grav yet, he said, watching Zeus's counter tick upwards into 100%. But it looks like the early shatter comes out, but I don't... Yeah, looks like a double stun there. Ally is going to survive, though, and Zeus does fire off that grab so that a enemy Diva Bomb can come out. That's going to grab Muffin. Counter shatter goes out, though, and ooh, wow, it actually looks like Zeus able... Also getting yiked by Yikers there. So Spirit, again, going to hold this one, but it's a very long, drawn-out fight.
Yeah, that was very favorable for Spirit that it's so long and so drawn out because, you know, that time has still been taking up in favor of them. As long as Spirit holds point, they don't even have to really be there. But I want to talk about that slam we saw come out from Rafiki. Muffin doing some really good response work to boop that Reinhardt out of swing range, provide the members of Team Magna on the ground just from receiving a little bit of damage. It's a really good play from Lucio. That's really how you do peel and support there.
Yes, and speaking of peel and support, there's the grab, there's the bomb. Alvarocious does get taken out, and a trance has come out now to further this push onto the point by Magna. They're going to be going right up against the barriers, though. No Sombra to take that one down because of that switch there. Barriers again, now going in for Magna. So here we go. Pondo does take out Rafiki. Ooh, this is looking very good for Magna Ignis, who have affected what looks like a team wipe.
Yeah, and they did manage to keep a ult or two kind of in their pockets. Paindo going to be having that Earth Shatter online after just 1 or 2 swings. Ali having that rally in her back pocket as well. And yeah, we see the side of Spirit kind of have a few ults that are creeping towards being online, with Alvarocious, of course, having that Transcendence. But really, these ult usages might shake the fight here.
Yep, but Shatter goes right into a shield, though. That's not going to catch anything. Pondo does defend his team well, but now they're going right into a Grally. Zeus throws out the grab, it gets met by a Shatter from Rafiki, and that grabs nothing, but Pandemonium is going to be taken down. There goes Rafiki. That's going to be Spirit running for the hills.
Yeah, Spirit deciding that they do not want to continue to engage this. Yikers, however, activating the Diva Mech right before they decide that. That's going to be a little unfortunate. They wouldn't exactly be on par or on track to combo with Storm too quickly, but still you think you'd rather have that combo up than not moving forward. Hanako now going to be having that Transcendence, really looking to kind of keep it perhaps in favor or in response for that grab, which is going to be coming out from Storm shortly.
Speaking of grabs coming out shortly, in goes the rest of everyone else's ults on the field, and Pyro takes out Sir Doctor and Panda. Wham Bam, thank you, ma'am. Looking very good now for Magna Ignis, who have, again, another ultimate coming online with Zeus's own grav almost ready. So, not good for Spirit. They are in one-fight territory, but they lack the ultimates to win that single fight.
Yeah, worth noting though, Storm did not die during that encounter, meaning that they are still able to keep that very high Zarya charge right around the 80% right now. So they will be able to get it a little bit faster. Whether it's going to come up in one fight, we'll see.
And there it is, Sir Dr. Titan, Yikers Rafiki. What another fantastic play by Magna Ignis, who again pushed Spirit back. And ooh, oh boy, actually 7%. I don't think Spirit's going to be able to get back to the point in time.
It certainly does not, especially with that grab going out right in front of their spawn. It's gonna be it, and man, really, it took a while for Magna to get locked in and onto point, but once they did, they seemed to be very aggressive and hold it very steadily.
Yeah, just about, well, you could almost say it took them 98 seconds to warm up and get ready to go against Spirit, because that's exactly how long Spirit held that point and had a great time doing it until Magna Ignis started popping off like crazy. They fixed up their ult rotation and they started slamming, jamming, and grabbing their way to victory.
Yeah, well, I mean, we look at it, Spirit really held off only for, what was it, 2, maybe 3 fights, but those fights were so long that by the end of them, it was already at 98. It really kind of shows how the triple can really just stall things out. But we talked about it a little earlier, 3-4, seeing Storm on the May come out. I really like this potential for some massive blocking as well as some massive aggression. If you can get up in near the enemy's spawn choke, it can be massively powerful with the Ice Queen herself.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see if Hanako sticks on the Zenyatta for the trans or if they move on to Ana now that there's no Diva to make her job that much more difficult. So instead of playing right into the May's hands, Magna Ignis is going to set up one right on the point, this time possibly engaging up, but no, there it is, Pondo. They are going to get taken down by their Rafiki counterpart, and this is not going to be looking good for Magna Ignis, who are losing a lot of health with no giant rectangle to save them.
Yeah, I think we're already seeing Storm use those ice walls to pretty good effect. We saw the section off come onto Pando, and really just getting up into the face of Pyro. That's going to be tough, but Pando's going to be swinging back.
Wow. Again, so this is, I think, something we're seeing from Magna Ignis. They seem to be preferring the long, drawn-out fight, and it almost is never going to be going in Spirit's advantage here. And wow, yeah, Storm goes down, and Spirit takes the point initially, and whoa, there it is! Ally does, in fact, switch off to the healer. Not the one we were expecting, though. It's Batiste!
Yeah, it means a lot of invulnerability going to be on the point. And looking forward, oh, there's the grab. Not quite big though.
Yep.
However, nice slam.
And wow, that's a lot of murders, turning the members of Spirit into spirits as they, how do you say it, go on to the afterlife, limbo of spawn. So without a May, this is going to be a pretty interesting hold here, but Zeus has the grab, almost as good as any wall.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll notice Ali going to be playing with this BAP, meaning that when Storm activates the Blizzard, he'll be able to throw down that Immortality Field, or Lamp as it's sometimes called, to really kind of just provide some longevity, excuse me, to the team. But right now we're just kind of seeing the Rhines bump heads, trying to vie for space on this opening choke.
And that never is going to be the advantage for the attacking team here, as it was. So the grab, everything comes out here. Maze Blizzard is going to make this a little interesting. Bomb goes out, grabs no one. Storm does eliminate that invul field, so now whatever happens, happens for real. But Storm goes down very quickly in assistance with that Rhine shatter coming out from Pondo. Hanako's not going to be able to keep everyone alive, and it's, again, looking like a full retreat for Spirit.
Yeah, and Pando was so close with that Earth Shatter, just having it almost not pay off. We saw the Blizzard come out. Pando gets separated into that right side hallway, looking towards the spawn, and absolutely uses the Shatter when I believe it was 3 or 4 people chasing. That was critical to getting that knock and getting the teamfight win.
Yeah, wow. And so again, they're trying to use the Maywall to their advantage, trapping some of the members of Magna Ignis slightly around the side there. Unfortunately, though, they think they tried to separate them to get that shatter off, but the defenses were up and ready to go. Pondo does go down, however, and an invul field keeps him off and just barely alive. Grab from Yikers. That's a bit of a yikes move there.
Yeah, it's not exactly looking like it landed where they wanted. Maywall coming in nonsense.
And Storm's ice wall pops the bomb up above Reinhardt's shield, killing Rafiki. They have only 10 seconds left to get back to point. And again, it's gonna have to be a Hammond here, getting at least the stall, but we all know what that means, ladies and gentlemen. That's bad times, friend ahead. Yikers gets the Discord. He's probably gonna make it out with his life, but Spirit has a very tough ride ahead of them.
They certainly do, and with Rafiki so low, it doesn't look like they're gonna make it. Oh wait,
Ooh.
But they might.
Unbelievable! This is it. This is crazy. Spirit, they're making it happen. Rafiki goes down early, but the rest of Spirit is not willing to let this point go.
Yeah, not quite. The battle's still raging on, and right now it's looking pretty even, but we'll just have to see. The Ryans are now going to be coming back onto the point in full force, but the Lucio barrier might keep people up.
Yeah, Pandemonium dropping barriers here is a fantastic move. There's not a lot of Magna Ignis, and it looks like the rest of them are going to hold off from coming back, but this is a great opportunity for Spirit to start a full court press of their own. Yikers is going to be sticking on the Hammond, and I don't necessarily disagree with that. I think they're pretty much going to have to make their stand with what they can.
Yeah, the fortunate thing is that Yiker is going to be very close to that mine, so there's a lot of zoning and lockdown potential. You have the mines, you have the ice wall, you have the earth shatter that's going to be coming up, as well as this Rhine just absolutely swinging at this choke. It's going to be very difficult, even with the Diva Bomb for Magna to get through.
Oh, early grab. Oh, Dr. Titan goes down in the middle of the rally. Hanako's going to fall, but Poundo is just going crazy. Barriers is going to help them finish the job here. 3K for Reinhardt on the Poundo. Strike that, reverse it, and now here we are. It's an Alpha Ferocious doing their very best to stall on the point with the Transcendence, but that's going to be it. It's going to be another reattempt from Spirit to keep this point alive.
Yeah, this time, as I mentioned, going to be having the mines up, but it's going to be pretty much a death knell. It's going to be very tough to regain.
Well, the Spirit goes... Spirit is going down, but Storm drops another Blizzard onto the point. We've got a couple frozen. Yikers does go down, though, and they can't get that precious Pondo kill. So that's going to be no main tank for one, a main tank for others. Overtime is not looking good in favor of Spirit. The minute Storm goes down here, we're going to see Lijiang Tower falling to Magna Ignis.
Yeah, Magna Ignis going to be taking this first map of the, I guess you'd call it evening. Overall, it didn't look too meek from either of the teams. I think that both kind of walking away from this, not too disappointed. I think both teams kind of did a decent showing. Magna Ignis just seems to be a little bit more proficient at the long game play, I'd say. Playing in the long game, that is.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I can't tell if Magna Ignis is really doing it on purpose. Maybe I think it's probable from them that they genuinely believe that they can win the fight that they're in. But it also seems to be going that Spirit possibly need to start retreating earlier than they have been. They tend to be sticking into these fights just a little too longer, and I think that's letting the ults go back into advantage for Magna Ignis. And so far, that's been giving Magna Ignis a slight edge, aside from little tiny gaffes like a Mei doing classic Mei things.
Yeah, absolutely. But, I mean, I understand why it's hard for Spirit, because there are times where you have control of the points, and you just want to stall out for as long as possible, right? We saw that on, I believe it was Night Market, where they held that first fight up until 46% or something before they admittedly won it, but Magna Ignis came back, and I think in one or two fights after that, able to really just kind of swing back and take it with full force. And it's one of those situations, do you retreat, or do you continue to stall out on the fight, let your opponent continually feed you that damage, feed your healers that healing that they're able to do to build up the ults of your own?
Yes, and that is probably going to factor into this next fight, depending on what kind of situation we're in, anything but control, that is. I have a feeling that if, Magna Ignis can keep keeping Spirit in their own pace, so to speak, I think it goes without saying that we're going to be seeing a little bit of the shorter tournament round. However, Spirit is going to learn from that match without a doubt, and I think they're going to be coming out. Yep, oh wow. Looks like they are definitely going to be going for where the fights can be decided very quickly. We are headed for Junkertown.
Yeah, very curious here, because both these teams played pretty tank-heavy comps. We saw, I think it was Magna on initially going onto that Sombra Genji, but then once they saw, they immediately did a full retreat and switched back. So I'm not quite sure what to expect out of these teams here. Tank-heavy comps don't really transition too well onto this point. I mean, it's kind of what you will go to after you get your Bastion displaced on the cart. But I think that most are going to be favoring that Bastion comp, maybe an Orisa Roadhog if I'm expecting the standard bunker-style comp or pirate ship-style comp even.
Yeah, and I think that might actually be what we're going to be seeing coming out from Spirit. We've had the pleasure of witnessing them in action before. Something tells me they're going to be rocking that pirate ship. Or rather, specifically because they have so willingly and so quickly jumped into the desire to play Junkertown, that can only mean, hopefully it means that they have a surefire strategy in play for their inevitable attack and defense.
Yeah, absolutely. Worth noting, by the way, that I don't know if we mentioned it, Dorado was to get banned, meaning that we won't be seeing it at all for this round, but might be coming in later tonight, so be sure to stick around. And while you're at it, go ahead and be sure to vote on whoever you think is popping off in the Twitch MVP votes down in the corner, I believe, of the chat box. But I believe we'll be heading to Junkertown soon, ready to get some more high-flying action going from these teams. Worth noting that the teams will be switching sides. So for those of you at home, Spirit now going to be on the right in red, Magna, Ignis in the cool blue on the left.
And 3.007 will mix it up at least once. Now, that being said, we have the bans and the saves coming in, and lordy, Spirit gonna be banning Batiste, which that ban does go into effect for both sides, and he has become one of the newest elements of the now pretty powerful bunker comp, which typically plays into a Junkertown pirate ship attack and possibly even a defense. So now I am extremely curious as to what Spirit's going to be pulling out here.
Yeah, when we talk about those bunker comps, Baptiste has kind of become a third or fourth or fifth party association with it. You know, you talk about the Orisa, you talk about the Roadhog, you talk about a Bastion, a Junkrat, maybe depending on the map, a Torbjorn if you really want to get a little bit memeish with it. But Baptiste is one of those heroes who's kind of come in. Yes, the immortality field, incredibly valuable, can keep members up for so much longer than perhaps they should be otherwise. And without him on the field, I'm not quite sure what these teams are going to be going to. I imagine a Mercy is still going to be in effect, at least for the attacking team, to get that Bastion back up. Maybe a Zenyatta, since we're dealing with more stationary comps. I don't know. I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, this should be super interesting. And, you know, bonus round, we're going to be seeing Spirit's offense, that is, first. Which, unfortunately for us, means that we have to guess right up until the end what they're actually going to be going with. Meanwhile, the defense coming out from Magna Ignis is going to be pretty clear, since you have to, you know, waltz your way out. It's what we refer to in the biz as the Jabate Shield.
Yes.
No one says that.
I mean, I'm going to start saying it now because it's so crucial. I mean, how many times do we goof? You and I, we make those wrong calls all the time. I'm gonna lump us both in that same category if you don't mind. But I think now we're gonna be able to see what we're kind of handling here, and barring any immense trolling, it looks like the double sniper is gonna kind of be the choice here, with triple tank. Interesting.
This is instantly my favorite composition in the history of Overwatch. A single Mercy healer, presumably they brought Mercy along for the damage boosties, with the benefit of having the Widowmaker and the Hanzo. That's going to be some pretty serious damage coming out. Both of those heroes with a boost from Mercy can headshot just about any non-tank on the field. Meanwhile, you have D.Va for the defense matrix. Orisa being a little more stationary, I think, than anyone would like, but I suppose that will give the snipers a point to, you know, so to speak, ferry the enemies towards. Meanwhile, here it goes, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pirate ship. They wanted it the whole time.
Yeah, no surprise there. Another unspoken combo, defensive comp we're seeing run here. Orisa able to grab and put enemies right where the snipers are going to want them, but ouch, from on the alley.
Double snipers coming out from both sides, and we saw all four of them kill each other in a festival of bullets and arrows. That, unfortunately, for Magna Ignis is going to favor the offense. Their spawns will return to the fight very quickly. Meanwhile, that Bastion has just been pumping that payload full of that good, solid progress, which means... Here we go now. It's a very last-minute ditch. There's maybe 2 more fights here left as Magna Ignis tries desperately to get back into position and bring the rest of their team, including the Galumphing Roadhog, back into the fight.
Yeah, and Pando on this Orisa is going to be in a very tough spot until we see Hanako get back. And now that they will, we're going to see if they can get those halt hook combos really locked down.
Wow, and Storm's starting to pop off here, gets the 2 headshots. Does he get the 3K? No, yes, Muffin is going to be taken out by an ulting Pando. Ali has to jump to the point to save it, which means that's just fair game. It's Hanzo season, as with a pretty solid speedy time, Spirit pushes this point to B very quickly, and now we see why they definitely wanted to be running Junkertown.
Yeah, absolutely, looking very strong. Storm would be taking that support. Not going to quite be getting the efficacy that you might expect. Going to be switching on to Ana. In fact, I'm not really quite sure about this because the Mercy's mostly going to be for damage boost and res, meaning that the anti-nades might not be as effective. We'll just have to see moving forward. We're going to be getting very aggressive from Yikers here, however.
Yeah, they're going to pay the price. An anti-nade onto Roadhog is pretty much a death sentence. Meanwhile, though, it's going to be now up to Storm and Sir Dr. Titan to make the most out of these sniper compositions, which going into a 3-3, one especially as mobile as a Pondo-flavored Winston, is going to be tricky for them to get the shots that they needed. And yes, wow, they do immediately jump onto Storm, who, fortunately for Storm, is able to get away quickly, but that is also going to remove their damage from the point long enough for Zeus to go crazy. Pandemonium goes down, he gets rezzed immediately. Rafiki, though, also dead. It's an ulting Mercy on the point as Alvarez goes full Valkyrie, and it's not going to be enough. Pondo goes down, Panda goes down, or Pondo takes down Sir Dr. Titan, Pandemonium goes down, and that's going to be a fight very much so favoring Magna Ignis.
Yeah, and this, what we're seeing for Magna Ignis is kind of the fundamental how we see bunker comps be kind of countered. It just comes in from hard dive. If you're able to overwhelm the Bastion all at once, you're able to really kind of lock him down, get him knocked out of the fight, and then the Mercy has to spend time rezzing, which, if that's the case, then she's not healing her team. If she's able to get the res off, then fine, but ideally by then you've killed other members of the team, as we saw come through with Rafiki. Interesting on Storm on this Sombra pick, though, might be a little bit of a headache for these dive-heavy tanks.
Yeah, it should be interesting. Talking about these meta shifts and whatnot and how the snipers gets kind of obliterated by the 3-3, it's almost like you're literally watching a meta die and get replaced by its counterpart. Literally, as now the 3-3 is truly ratcheting up a Storm, as Storm is one of the only ones actually to get out of there alive. Good ult charge now being built by Magna Ignis, who have stabilized on their new picks and are starting to build up that defense. Meanwhile, Yikers also off the switch, doing a pretty good job of getting his grav online.
Yeah, I highly anticipate Storm's going to have to be very studious in getting this EMP charge up, and if so, they will be able to capitalize upon it pretty heavily. Not as heavily as if they were running against a Zenyatta combo, but the back cap coming through from Storm almost attempts.
Wow, and the grav holds a bunch of them right there on the stairs, and then the other grav comes out, but wow, yeah, Magna Ignis definitely seem to have done a fantastic job here. They are stabilizing so well. Now they have the barriers and probably a nano coming online. Meanwhile, though, the Yikers did toss that grav out. Not a lot to support it.
Yeah.
There it is.
Did not quite come out to maximum effect. Again, we're seeing that Zarya be replaced with the D.Va. Meaning a lot of the Ana utility is going to be pretty useless, as well as Zeus going to have to be a little bit more careful getting those grabs sent out. Otherwise, I'm still waiting to kind of see. You're not going to have that massive damage come through from Zarya, which can be so crucial. But with Storm's EMP, we might see a shift here.
Yeah, it's the big chance. It's a big chance for them to come back, and an EMP is definitely a fight winner. It's the single ult you need sometimes. And speaking of single ults, though, they certainly are building up a little bit of a repertoire of their own. But now the Nano just came out onto Pondo. They're even going to be giving him a rally. So now Storm, I think they were going in there, possibly going for that big EMP. And they're waiting for it. They're waiting for it. No, they are actually going to be done, and instead they're just going to get out of there. Shatter comes out. There it is finally, but it only catches 2. It's going to keep Muffin from dropping his barriers. Pyro the tank didn't really have ult yet, so that's fine. This isn't good. Barriers now back on for the Magna Ignis, and there's no Sombra ult to rip that away. Barriers of their own for Spirit. But right now the fight could go any direction, but I think a D.Va Bomb's gonna have something to say. It says a lot. Alvarez just Dr. Titan go down. 2 supports means, truckloads of heals missing. Magna Ignis again with a successful defense.
Yeah, and what we saw there was kind of a case of ult anti-synergy. We saw Rafiki go for the hammer down up on the top floor where we saw that positioning kind of come through from Storm, but it scattered the defending team, meaning that when the EMP went off, it was only going to be able to catch Muffin as well as Hanako, if I believe. Ali still able to stay up, and providing that healing to Muffin, who did get attempted to get focused down by Storm, just wasn't there. You really need to be kind of careful when you have those CC ults like that.
Yeah, and it's definitely a difficult situation. Do you hold it for the next fight? Do you use it now in the hopes that your team can capitalize? Instead, though, it looks like you kind of wish you had that going for you now. Rafiki goes down very early. No bubbles for Spirit, rather, as Zeus and Ally take the rest of it out. And wow, Zeus, too much charge. That's not good when Azaria's been able to live that long. And already, yes, Zeus has the grav to match. But Storm conspicuously absent of the grav thanks to that switch from Sombra.
Yeah, however, Pyro not looking like they're in mech right now. That might be that the side of Spirit is going to be utilizing if they can catch that, baby D.Va before they build mech, it might be a benefit. But the grab gonna lock him in place.
And yeah, once again, Magna Ignis pull that same kind of sneaky play where they're going to drop that grav just before you get to the point, meaning that you don't even get to contest that final thing. And so the payload doesn't have to get, payload got pushed a little further than that, which means Magna Ignis has to get it just around that bend, similar to Spirit's progress. And right now, Spirit has a big defense ahead of them.
Yeah, they certainly do, especially if Magna is going to be looking to run a similar Bastion-style game against them. That might spell a little bit of a sticky wicket, because we haven't seen a lot of, I would say, variety from Spirit, at least not to the degree that I would like. Spirit, admittedly, a little bit comfortable switching off, but the variety hasn't seemed effective, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It looks like they're going to give it a go with the double snipers, maybe the triple if Hanako is going to be sticking on that. I'm not going to speculate too much on that, because we will be seeing the triple come through on the defensive side. And yeah, this is pretty much going to be textbook stuff as far as the defense goes. I'm a little bit surprised they'd run that here instead of the Orisa defense, but they might be looking at their own performance and saying, yeah, we ran through Orisa way too easily. We're not gonna rely on it.
Yeah, now we're seeing a Diva currently on Pyro, Hanako, Pondo. So with the switch onto the Bastion, if Bastion leaves the actual hero selection, he hasn't left it yet. Yep, there it is. See, now I'm watching you guys now. I know better than to get tricked. But wait, no, they actually just debated me super hardcore style. They're going for a, nope, it looks like, wow, yes, Spirit taking a very heavy upfront spawn camp. Unfortunately, they gave their hand away so quickly that the switches come out almost at a lightning speed as Magna Ignis jumps right back onto their own 3-3.
Yeah, and Spirit's still kind of playing this right. If that was a bad forward, but you don't want to lose Rafiki that fast.
Yeah, getting the Lucio was a fantastic pick, but again, the spawns are so dang close that if your main tank's going to be the one to go down, you got to get that trade suited up a little bit better. Lucio's already back on the field. We're not going to be seeing Rafiki come back for a long time. Pyro the tank getting demeched. That is, however, going to make this push a little harder. Not a lot Diva can do in terms of that respawn. She's going to have to build that mech up pretty quickly. And right now, the payload is pretty much functionally stuffed.
Yeah, it's looking a little bit brawly. Jaeger's going to have to be a little bit careful, kind of sectioned off from the rest of the team, and it looks like the Magna Ignis push is going to come through because of it.
And yep, there actually it is. Rafiki goes down again very quickly. Not good times for Spirit, but that is going to give Magna Ignis the breathing room necessary and a truckload of ults, though that is going to be matched by the Spirit defense.
Yeah, Zeus going to be having this grab. We might see an initiation with it, but instead it's going to be the Earth Shatter.
Wow, grab comes out very quickly by Zeus. Dueling transes on the field. No kills. The answer is maybe. Massive shatter goes in, grabs the 3, and that's going to be the opening that Spirit needed. Down goes Pondo. Ali follows quickly, shortly after that is, and it's going to be a... I don't even know what just happened there, but Yikers does eventually demech their counterpart.
Yeah, I'm very interested. I think Hanako may have misheard a voice line like that, because Zeus pops the grab for the side of Magna Ignis. We see that Transcendence come out, but Storm still has grab in their pocket. So interested as to what the thought process may have been there, but either way, grab's gonna be up again on both sides.
Yep. The counter shatter does catch a couple, but is it going to be enough? Diva Bomb not grabbing anyone. Pyro the tank actually is going to get demeched, but through no thanks to Yucker's destruction. But this is also going to be Magna, and it's starting to take a bit of the lead here thanks to Discord Orbs showing up on literally every single kill rocking here. That's going to be a lot of mileage out of that Hanako Zenyatta pick.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are seeing, even though there were a few ult investments coming through from the offensive side, we're still seeing them be kind of stacked in comparison to their counterparts here. Rafiki and Alvarocious going to be having ults online soon, but there are 3 online for the side of Magna. I'm sure they'll be using the maximum effect.
Wow, Zeus and Pyro going right in for that combo, but unfortunately for them, the payload was being pushed to completion rather, on point A, and Alvarocious also drops the trans. Again, I don't know why. Must have been a misclick or something, because they are going to die very quickly, and that's an ultimate that they, I'm sure, would have loved to hold on to. Possibly a switch coming out? No? That's rough.
Yeah, it does not seem to be the case. Yeah, Alvarocious going to be very costly. You want as many support ultimates as you can get when your job is basically to stall out the timer and prevent the cart from going too far. Muffin gonna get a little bit punished for being so far forward and so aggressive, but it doesn't look like it might be the most critical thing. We're gonna see a swing from Spirit come in here, however.
Wham! The slam. Wham goes the slam, but no stuns for the Pondo, who unfortunately is now going to be slamless against the Rafiki and the Storm grab, which comes out. And there it is, right there, catching them right up against the corner. But there's a trans from Hanako, and it's actually going to be looking pretty good for Spirit, who do manage to get the kill out of it. Muffin goes down thanks to the combined efforts of many heroes, and that is going to actually push Magna Ignis on a little bit of the retreat, as Spirit, again, demonstrating a very aggressive strategy.
Yeah, Spirit might be getting a bit too aggressive here. Sir Dr. Titan going to be... That might be crucial as the swings back's now coming in for Magna.
Yeah, that clapback is huge. That is going to be Magna now with the Grav, going up against an Alvarocious Trans. Good on him grabbing that back just in time. But Pyre the Tank and Zeus have that deadly little combo. Shatter goes out, though. It grabs a couple. Well, it grabs what's needed, you could say. And Spirit, once again, effect a really solid defense.
Yeah, they really needed to kind of pull that back to where it was. Rafiki absolutely seized the opportunity of Pando dropping in their place to really just get that fat shatter. I believe it was a 5-man, given that Pando was already in the grave. And with that, we just saw Spirit absolutely get aggressive, and this stagger onto Pyro is brutal.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing you'd like to see if you're Spirit. Pyre the Tank getting mega slowed down, and since they have that combo ready for Zeus, you know Magna Ignis has to wait for that respawn to come through. With 1:30, this fight has to be won. They're so close. It is definitely one fight territory before Spirit gets forced into a stall situation.
Yeah, Storm going to be looking up to build this grab once again. They might be trying to use Magna's own tactics against them of just locking the enemies into place. We haven't really seen a whole lot of that manipulation come through from Spirit. Might see it change though. Nope, looks like it's going to be used for kills.
Yes, that was pretty huge. Rafiki actually gets booped off the ledge, and wow, major Yikers catches Muffin thanks to the help of their friends. There goes the other Diva Bomb goes down. It grabs no one thanks to the barriers coming up online. Instead, it's going to be Magna Ignis who are very much so in danger of not having a chance to finish this map. Ults are now coming out huge, and Pondo actually drops a couple. Yikers does get demec'd. This is a little crazy now. Ult's coming out in a fight that you wouldn't have expected being needed. Alvarocious drops the trans. Even more ultimates.
Yeah, this is massive coming through from Spirit. They need to be very careful here. As we've seen before, if you just lose one kill so close to the enemy spawn, they can absolutely collapse on you. If it's a Lucio, forget it. They're absolutely going to catch on you. If they were to clip if Magna was to clip Pandemonium, Muffin would have all the speed boost freedom in the world, just able to push and collapse on that team. However, the cards move back a considerable amount. Magna's really going to have to work to push it forward.
And Hanako the only one looking like they're showing of an outbow. That's big. Sir Dr. Titan goes down. No one on either team is really close to ult except for Hanako and Storm. And that, unfortunately, for Spirit is the perfect counter. Rafiki goes down. Now it's big. Yikers going to be getting DMX as well thanks to the stun. And huge. They also get ripped apart very quickly. Spirit beats a very hasty retreat, but it's going to be a very nasty kill as Storm gets caught way out of position, forced to drop the grav. That's not good. Hanako gets to keep the trans. It's a free push now from Magna Ignis, and it is major stall time. Yikers is on the Hammond. It doesn't matter.
Dr. Titan tries to get on the cart, just not quite able to pull it off.
Wow.
And yeah, that was really brutal. I believe we saw Storm on that Zarya trying to camp, just saving that Graviton as well, just trying not to lose their life and get staggered. In the end, it didn't quite look like it had worked. And yeah, man, that was some really incredible play coming through from this team. I was not expecting 2 Streets Face holds.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. The defense that Spirit was putting in, the whole pace of the game was being determined entirely by them. They were doing such a fantastic job. And then I think there it was at the end, they got pulled into a situation where after the ults had been sent out in that massively long fight, possibly unnecessarily by both sides, but in the end, you ended up in a situation where Spirit was left with no defending, no ultimates at all. Storm wasn't ready for that charge. And instead, the Magna Ignis was able to get off a few very early picks, open the fight up, and then the Grav has to get sent out because they just weren't in position to retreat.
Yeah, it was looking very good for Magna, but Spirit just, I believe they got those few openings that they needed. Or excuse me, I think it was Magna who got the openings they needed. Whatever the case, the aggression coming through there was really kind of misplaced. And it's one of those things where if you pull one wrong Jenga block, the entire tower can fall, and that's exactly what we saw last fight.
Yeah, it turns out that a shatter might have been exactly what the doctor ordered there in that situation. It's super rough times, that kind of aggression not paying through. Sometimes when you keep the pace that solely squarely in your possession, maybe you get a little cocky, maybe you just hit that button just right when you're not expecting it to, and so instead, you're left in that ultless situation. And so now we're going into quote unquote match point, as Magna Ignis only needs one more win here. Spirit again going to be responsible for the map and hero good times. Meanwhile, we're waiting on Magna Ignis to effect another map ban.
Yeah, it's. I'm curious as to what we might be seeing here. We're no longer going to be seeing any more escorts for this game between Magna and Spirit. Junkertown and Dorado were the only two we had lined up on the roster. Dorado getting banned. Junkertown, obviously, we just played. So that still does leave quite a few options. We haven't seen any control yet. We haven't seen any hybrid. I'm just going to spit out a name of one of the maps in the map pool 3, and you tell me how likely it is, given the teams, that we'll see it. Paris.
I think it is unlikely. I think Magna Ignis are going to not ban it, but I don't think Spirit would pick it given the risk involved. It is a map where you can definitely tie, and that doesn't help your situation at the moment. You need a win.
All right. Well, then how about Oasis?
Ooh. Well, speaking of which, Magna Ignis just banned Ilios, so it's possible that could be some of the mind games. If Spirit goes with a control map, despite their, getting 2-0'd on Lijiang Tower, then, and if it does go to Oasis, I think that's going to favor Magna Ignis. So I think I'll bet Spirit picks it. I think that's a solid pick for Spirit overall. They have the power. They have that 3-3 goodness.
Yeah, Spirit might be in not a horrid spot to pick it. I don't know how likely it is we'd see the two hybrid maps, just because we haven't really seen these teams kind of play any capture yet. We've obviously seen Junkertown's escort portion, or the entirety of it be an escort portion, but I don't know if we can really get a read on the rest of the maps outside of maybe Oasis.
Good point.
And it's really tough. You talk about the different kinds of maps we have. Eichenwald has the potential there. We talk about Farah, but we didn't get to see Gardens, if I remember right, in Lijiang. So we don't know if either of these teams is really favorable for Farah, at least tonight. You also talk about Hanamura. Yeah, we've seen a little bit of mobile bunker action style coming through with the Bastion, Orisa, Hog stuff. But again, when you have the stationary capabilities, it kind of modifies what teams may or may not feel comfortable with. Overall, I think it's just going to come down to what Spirit feel most comfortable with. They may not even be trying to play mind games with Magna at this point. They may just try to tip it in their favor.
It's a fair point. The hybrid map selection then might be the thing that you want to do, You have that solid mix. Clearly Spirit on defense, and especially in that kind of situation, they knew exactly what they wanted to do. And if you can curb that aggression, if you can mid-game just school your team, school your mind, and get away from that aggressive mentality, that over commitment. That would be a perfect situation for a hybrid situation. You might not get to pick your side, but that aggression is going to serve you very well in busting through those chokes, and it's going to serve you very well in making sure that you have plenty of fights on your defense.
Yeah, and as you say that, thoughts come into my mind. It's ironic that we bring up aggression into this conversation with Spirit and with Magna, right? We were talking about how Magna is more than content to kind of let the fights go long. If they see fights are in their favor, but Spirit is still fighting them, they don't seem too dedicated to extremely push to get the fight clean and won. They'll kind of drag it out for a little bit longer, whereas Spirit before didn't quite know when to pull back. And again, we saw that on Junkertown. That ended up leading to their downfall in what was looking like an otherwise passable defensive hold. They just got a bit too aggressive. They started losing players, and from there, the snowball kind of came through from Magna. So I think aggression is a really good term that Spirit kind of needs to think about, consider, kind of rotate in their mind just to figure out how they want to approach it. Do they want to continue going this aggressive or do they want to taper it back a little bit? Because I think that's really going to be one of the deciding factors going against Magna.
It's a good point, and yeah, Magna's ability to just drag that fight out is good, but it's worth noting that Magna does always have to commit ultimates to that fight to keep it going. They're not in such a position where they can out mechanic or out tactic or outclass. And it looks like, ooh, and yeah, there it is. No, wait, no, they're going with Anubis. It's an assault style map. Unbelievable. So ballsy. I like it, Spirit.
Yeah, I really like it because we just haven't seen a lot of Anubis.
Also that.
Paris is one of those rougher picks. I don't think teams are necessarily super confident in it, and they just don't want to play bunker that strongly. But I mean, Anubis is probably of the remaining one of the few we see the least. I would say maybe Ilios and Dorado kind of coming in after that, but both those have been banned. So I'm liking it. Magna Igna now going to be on side selection as well as hero save. We're just waiting for the word to come through from them. See what they pick.
They're saving Orisa. They're setting up on defense. I think there's a certain piece of high ground that, that they're going to be looking forward to holding.
Yeah, I would not be surprised here at all. Spirit might kind of show their hand here, however, if they, based on what hero they're going to be banning. Of course, if they choose to ban that bunker comp, it kind of implies, what else would they run? What other kind of styles would they be comfortable with? I think Spirit, I would just love to see the mind games that come through if they ban something like a Widowmaker, or they're going to be banning the Baptiste, it looks.
Yeah, they're trying to keep them away from that hardcore bunker composition, and I can see that being a good solid ban. On the second point of Anubis, you get into that situation where a Baptiste can be very useful in keeping that team alive, especially for that good stally-wally action. So instead, yes, Orisa, no Baptiste, but there was a time when bunker comps could be run without a Baptiste, and that might not deter Magna Ignis in this particular situation. However, also bonus round again, making this easier on everyone, Magna Ignis is going to be starting out on defense first, so very tricky. Spirit, again, going to be setting the pace here, and I am very excited to see how they're going to not only bust open Anubis, but then also hold it and keep this match alive.
Well, I think Spirit... Well, I don't think Spirit would consider it wishful thinking, but I think it is looking like wishful thinking for Spirit, just given how these games have been going. They've been very close, but Spirit always just seems to come up a few cents short when compared tit for tat against Magna. So breaking that first point, sure, probably going to be pretty feasible for them, but really the second point's what we're going to be looking for here. I think that really the first point's going to play into how much snowball can you get on the side of the offense here.
Yeah, going to be a very spooky situation indeed. The problem there being, again, you are putting... Spirit has put themselves into a situation where they could be drawn. They could draw this map, and if they do, then it's just back to neutral. And hopefully they're picking Anubis again, possibly like they did with the Junkertown situation, where they have a strategy in mind. They have a win condition in their team strategy where they are going to be able to take this map, take the win, and move on. However, again, very dangerous situation. And looking at this comp coming out, we haven't seen a lot of success from Junkrat Tires lately, but Ali can be the linchpin here. This could be the make or break it.
Yeah, I definitely expect that might be the case here. I think we're going to be seeing Zeus set up here just to get a couple early shots behind Paindo's Orisa barrier. But this is kind of the fundamental what we see on Anubis. The Widowmaker and then the Orisa and company just kind of bunkered down in the front. Widowmaker, of course, going to be in the high ground behind once that pre-snipe is kind of over and done with.
Yep, and yeah, oh, jeez, yep, so much damage. You set the boost onto that Junkrat, you have the Zenyatta Orb to help, and you have a Halt coming in there, making it super difficult. It's just, yeah, it's not good times.
Yeah, fortunately for the side of Spirit, they're not going to be punished too much by mispositionings because the Hog will not be on the side of Magna, meaning there's not any of the full potentials. But a tire already coming out from Alley, going to get 2. That's fat. Really fat.
That was one of the fastest fat tires I've ever seen in my entire life. Also picking up the 2K, huge, mega crazy awesome, and so yeah, that's a decent chunk of time off the clock. With unfortunately though for both teams, not really a lot of ultimates to make it happen. So switches here, not really as debilitating as you would expect, and Alvarocious is probably thinking the same thing. Going to be popping onto that Ana. Pyro the Tank still on that D.Va though, so that's going to be an interesting pick.
Yeah, and Rafiki Yikers kind of playing this how we saw the Bastion comp on Junkertown be handled. Just gonna have to use some dive to kind of get on top of it, hit it as soon as possible. But Ali on this Junkrat's gonna provide kind of an obstacle with the Junkrat trap, as well as the concussion mines and just the incredible amount of burst damage that hero can do. So the Winston might get knocked back by concussion mine. If the D.Va dives up there alone, it's gonna be very tough, especially if she's locked in place by a Junkrat trap. A lot of things can go wrong here for the dive on the attack if they're not super coordinated.
Yep, and there it is. The team has gotten split. They're going to have to wait for some cooldowns to get reset here, as a Widowmaker is a very angry opponent, especially when... there it is. Pandemonium gets caught out. There's now a Genji. Storm on Genji in the backline, trying to cause some damage, and it is going to be difficult for them to completely eliminate him, though that does pull Pyro the Tank away, but unfortunately for the rest of Spirit, that still doesn't result in any good times for them. Zeus finds Star Dr. Titan, Rafiki's found by their other main tank counterpart, and their ults are just looking better and better. Meanwhile, even more switches from Spirit, resetting ultimates. I get what they're trying to go for here, but Sir Dr. Titan needs to build one of the fastest EMPs of his career if he's going to pop this through.
Yeah, and he's going to have to do it against this Widow sites. The Widow going to be having Infra online right now at this very moment. I'm pretty sure Widow is going to be aware of Dr. Titan and a lot of action.
Huge, crazy, awesome, good stuff coming in from Spirit. It looks like they finally hit on the right combo of heroes that's going to make the magic happen. So Dr. Titan one-shots the Ali Zeus, why do I keep doing that, Junkrat? And it's just kill after kill after kill for Spirit, who have finally found the secret to popping open Anubis Point A. A D.Va Bomb gets tossed out for the Yikers, who does pop immediately into mech, possibly to make the snowball happen, which is a very real possibility. Storm coming very close to a blade, and Sir Dr. Titan, as predicted, building one of the fastest EMPs possibly of their career.
Yeah, this is going to be very crucial because that Genji blade, the blade and EMP, one of the most powerful combos you can do in this situation, especially against that Brig who's going to be looking to shield bash it out of existence. Only thing you might be wanting instead is Alvarocious to have that nano up online as well. Just get some maximum damage amplified onto that Genji. We'll see if the snowball is going to be real here.
Yeah, otherwise also busting through that trans from Hanako might not be on the books. So there it is, the EMP goes in. They don't catch Zenyatta, who immediately pops trans. Storm, however, very good. Holds onto his blade, waits until everything is set and done to start ripping it out, unfortunately for them. Pyro the Tank does manage to catch Alvarocious, and Pondo is just going crazy ripping apart the members of Spirit. And it's going to look like it's probably going to be a very long 4 minutes for Spirit's offense.
Yeah, and there were some good plays in there coming through from Spirit, but their ult synergy did not seem to be it. Their ult usage didn't seem to be it. They didn't catch Hanako, which was kind of one of the crucial ones. Hanako popped Transcendence actually before the EMP went off, so it wasn't one of those things where he just wasn't within line of sight. It just didn't really affect. And because of that, so much healing was able to be kept up. The only exception being on Pyro the Tank, Alvarocious getting a nano or an anti onto them, but still wasn't quite enough to bring it around in favor of Spirit.
Yeah, and it might be that Spirit, just does a little bit of a dry push here. Alvarocious does have that nano since it's such a fast ult to build. Maybe you even spend that on this fight to get someone else's ult online. We're looking at you, Storm, since Graviton Surges are pretty handy in this particular situation. So let's see what's going to go down here. They have the Yikers ultimate also ready to go, but Magna Ignis just jumps in, getting some damage. Storm builds their laser beam charge very quickly. And so with that being said, Reinhardt leading the way onto the point. They're going right into Ali Rally. And it's wham bam, thank you man. They surge onto the point. Pyro the Tank getting focused down very quickly, but unfortunately oh no, there it is! Zeus does toss the grab and Yikers eats it.
Yeah, that was a very good play coming out from Yikers, but still not a whole lot tipping in favor of...
Wow. Brawly, and woof, it actually forced the trans out of Hanako. Storm still holding onto that grab. Can they get it out? Can they get to live? No! Ali does manage to take out Storm, and Magna Ignis stabilizes not even a tick for Spirit, despite all the powers and cooldowns and whatnot committed to that fight.
Yeah, that was kind of one of the longer fights that I think was supposed to be an old generation fight. turn into a, hey, we might actually win this, and then, oh, we didn't actually win this kind of situation. Storm going to be having the grab, and there's not going to be a lot to contest with it, especially since Hanako used that Transcendence last fight. Really just going to have to be careful of Muffin. Might have that beat up if they don't act fast enough, but it's still even debatable whether they're going to be using the grab this fight.
Yeah, again, they have time. No, they are committing. Sir Dr. Titan pops that rally. Rafiki's got slams. Storm does drop the grab, catches quite a bit, but they're running right into the barriers, and now Ali drops a rally of their own. No kills yet for either side. Both, huge shatter comes out though, grabs 3, and yeah, that's massive. Spirit starts going absolutely ham. The bomb has been tossed in with the grab though. It doesn't catch anyone. That's both being taken, but again, Magna Ignis turned the fight around.
Yeah, Magna Ignis has one of those massive swing back potentials, not looking like it's going to be going in favor of Spirit for this push either. And they invested, what might be considered quite a lot there. Yiker is still going to be stuck. And, it's just Magna trying to get this stagger out as long as possible. Man, this is brutal. But looking forward... oh, not quite, Yikers, not quite. Hanako going to be having the Transcendence available to counter another large push, but they might have 2 on the side of Spirit if they take it fast enough.
Yep, and now with the 60-second remaining, Athena has made it clear. This is probably going to be the last push we're looking at. And with Sir Dr. Titan and Pandemonium building to their ults, it actually could be a pretty solid push from them. They only need to survive the shatter. Then Hanako's trans needs to be ripped through. And finally, Spirit can begin the process of taking point B. An arduous one indeed, and it's not helping that Yikers is already almost demeched, tossing their Diva Bomb into the fight very early. No kills.
Very nice shield block from Rafiki, though, not letting Pando get any progress with that hammer down.
Very fantastic barriers down. The trans goes from Spirit's side. Rafiki DMX Pyre the Tank early into the fight. They're doing their best to build back up, and now Zeus drops the shatter. It's going to be draft shatter comes in as the counter, though. But Pondo, again, it's a team effort, and they rip apart Rafiki, but this time Spirit's not taking it lying down, except for those who did just get shattered. They are going to take it lying down. And Pondo, again, just going absolutely crazy. Zeus is going to be switching on to the Doomfist, though, meaning that they have entered stall mode. But Storm gets destroyed by the Diva Mac. Very bad for this push.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing a couple of the emergency ups come out. Rafiki on this, as well the Lucio Pandemonium still trying to just skate around contest as much as possible. But, man, this just shows you how crucial it is that you get some... not just one, but many decisive kills if you're on that attacking team second point capture. It is absolutely crucial. We saw so many times Spirit get like an opening pick or even 2, but it just was not able to happen fast enough before the swing back occurred.
Yeah, that was nuts. Forget the spawn advantage for the defenders. Magna Ignis just refused absolutely 100%, and the rotations on the point were perfect. They just would not give Spirit even one teeny tiny little tick, which again is massive, and that puts them into a territory where if they do not hold Magna Ignis on point A completely, basically this is it. This is win, and then you have to hold you have to keep them from getting a third, which granted what we just saw is 100% possible. Magna Ignis just kept Spirit from getting a third, so it stands to reason Spirit can pull the same off. However, it's not really an how do you say? It's not an enviable position.
Yeah, it's certainly not. You think that if you want to make any progress on the side of Spirit, you actually have to prevent that first point cap, which can be a pretty tall order at times, and I would say most times it's just one of those feats that's not easily done given the amount of pushes that will occur from the attacking team. They just have such a huge respawn advantage as well. The defense has such a long walk back period. It's one of those really compounding issues.
Yep. And it's just a no bueno situation. And so here we go. Okay, the defense coming out from Spirit is interesting. They're popping Rafiki back onto the Winston, and I don't necessarily disagree with that. This is a great situation to get a lot of good cleave, and Winston does a very good job on the point A defense. They are going to be running right into Pondo's Reinhardt, though, and that is not a combination, or rather not a matchup that I would prefer if I was Spirit.
Yeah, it's going to be a little hard, not a whole vulnerable targets on the side of Magna to be dove by Rafiki. And, ooh, bold from Yikers.
Wow, they drop immediately, and this is exactly what that Winston needs to do. They start cleaving right away, but instead, Yikers is the one who gets demixed, and Sir Dr. Titan already falling. Wow, Spirit so strong on the defense on Junkertown, now getting picked apart like nothing. And yes, Yikers does actually manage to get back in their mech very quickly. Fantastic little Gremlin Diva play there, but it is going to be a long walk back for Brigitte, who cannot get back as quickly as some of the other heroes might. And Spirit is going to get forced off the point here with Panda going down early.
Yeah, and right now the kills in what was basically a first point, or a first push, gonna be going in favor of Magna. That means they will have a lot of progress, and Storm getting pinned early from Pando. Pando's taking it aggressive to the paint right.
Wow, yeah, that's huge. So Dr. Titan again going down early in the fight that hasn't even really started yet. And, well, this is going to be a much more blistering pace for Point A. And now for a 6-minute, 40-minute hold, Zeus is going to be looking at to stop the 33.3% gain from Magna Ignis, who have very much so the snowball potential. And, however, Spirit does have some good ults coming online. They can definitely stop this rolling ball of doom.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, though. They are going up against 4 ultimates, basically having to fend off with Alvarocious' Trance and Pandemonium's harmful sound barrier in the mid-fight. It's going to be tough, but not unbearable.
Unbelievable. Wow. Rafiki manages to stop that Diva Bomb with a single use of the bubble. Excellent work. Well done. Unfortunately, they get caught into a grav during a lot of their primal rage. Another grab comes out. Now it's dueling transistor. Dr. Titan drops the rally. Alley drops the rally of their own. Barriers on the field for Spirit. Looking very good for Spirit, who now have fended off almost every ult from Magna Ignis, who are going to be left with naught but a barriers. But that's a lot of lingering armor.
Yeah, Rafiki actually blocked 2 ults with that one bubble, as well as the Diva Bomb for the Monkey Man. But it's still looking very iffy as to which team might be able to carry the win.
Wow, but Yikers taking out Muffin. Very good start to what could be a big defense, but again, it's very difficult to overcome the Anubis defense spawn advantage. But Magna Ignis look like they're going to be starting to make it happen. Pandemonium doing their best to stall. Now it's definitely stall territory for Spirit, who have only 2 on the field, and Zeus already pulls the grav out, knocking Storm out before they can generate more of their own. And that's going to be it, ladies and gentlemen. Magna Ignis takes it.
Yeah, it's going to be Magna Ignis up 3-0 in this fight. And I think this was, ironically, ironic for me, this is not what I was expecting, Magna's most dominant looking map. They made a first point push, they made a first push point both times around for first and second point here, while it was kind of a struggle even for Spirit to really get that first point progress. And I think they're going to be pretty happy about, I think Magna's going to be pretty happy about that, just taking it in such a decisive fashion.
Yeah, it's pretty... Honestly, yeah, I have to agree. Spirit, despite the losses, Lijiang Tower was honestly, I think, a little rougher for them, but they showed some really excellent play on Junkertown. It's a shame we're going to have to say goodbye to them so early in the tournament. So that being said, though, don't forget to vote for your MVP, ladies and gentlemen, in that Twitch poll below the stream, because that is all the Overwatch we're going to be seeing from these teams tonight. And with that being said, this is your last chance to maybe even let someone from Spirit know that you were watching them and that you thought that they were doing pretty awesome. So, very good performance from both teams. Magna Ignis ultimately going to be taking it and moving through the tournament, getting up through that loser's bracket.
Yeah, I mean, it was a well-earned fight. Magna seemed, well, at least Final, when we spoke to him at the beginning of the cast, seemed pretty calm, cool, and collected, and I think that kind of shows in Magna. They definitely seem to have the fire worked up in their bellies to really kind of get them where they needed to go.
Yep, and with that being said, we are going to have a post-game interview for you. That's right, we are very happy to be introducing, drumroll please, it's a tag that's different from the battle tag, and that's the trick with casters. Improv is not one of our strong suits, you'd be surprised. We have to practice these names a lot. So please, noble Victor from Magna Ignis, why don't you introduce yourself?
I am Sayumi.
Sayumi, wonderful. Well, glad to have you here. Congratulations once again. This is 3.007, and I'm joined with Sir Waltham. Waltham, why don't you kick us off?
Yeah, well, first of all, congratulations. Pretty good game we saw come through for you guys.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Now, what do you think was kind of you guys as a collective proudest moment?
Oh, I would honestly think that Our proudest moment was just when, like, even just in the last game where we just don't give up in the fight, even if we lose a member, like, to anything.
Yeah,
Well, I think we saw a
definitely
lot
talked
of that.
about
So, by the way, I have to ask, since again it's a sneaky tag, what was your battle tag throughout this match?
Oh, I was Hanako, the Zen player.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so there was a bunch of times we definitely saw where it looked like your team was doing a fantastic job with target focus. Every single kill was accompanied by that little Zenyatta assist orb. So did you, from the start of Overwatch, were you always a Zenyatta fan, or do you flex to a lot of different heroes?
Oh, honestly, I was at first an Ana player, but I've been playing Zen ever since dive meta started, and I usually play a strong role in the shot calling because of Discord.
Ah, okay. That makes a lot of sense, especially with the need to fall onto those discords.
Very true. Very true. I kind of, if I remember this right, I get my teams mixed up all the time, so forgive me if I'm incorrect. On Lijiang Tower, the first map we played here tonight, was it Magna who was looking to run that Sombra at the first, I believe it was night market?
I believe that we played goats. I think so. We rolled out expecting DPS, but then we went back to spawn really shortly because we preferred to play goats into what they were playing. So.
Okay, yeah, that's. I just thought I'd seen that. I saw Ali on Genji for a bit as well with the Sombra. So it was like a Winston Diva Genji Sombra looking dive. I was just wondering if that's something that you guys kind of prefer, or if you were using the Sombra to scout, or what the thought process there was.
Okay, so honestly, I think that my team, we're really flexible with a lot of comps. So basically what we like to do is, you know, like, we try to pick the best comp for the situation, and then we feel like if we can play well into a lot of comps with different comps ourselves, then we'll have the best chance rather than specializing in one comp.
Certainly makes sense. 3?
And yeah, we saw that pretty early on Lijiang Tower when you guys, you know, again, you rolled out and immediately retreated. And then it happened on Junkertown again. And I can definitely say, or rather I believe it, that I think that worked out pretty well to Magna Ignis's advantage. So speaking of that compositions and the maps that we had to play, we were mostly in the lieu of Spirit making the map picks after the Lijiang Tower victory. So Magna Ignis had the say in banning some maps. So what's your thought process here in getting rid of that Dorado map and then also with the Ilios ban as well?
I'll be honest, like, we just really hate Dorado sometimes. And because, like, we feel very strong with our goats comp, and I feel like there's a lot of just disadvantaged, like, situations when you're in Dorado because of the high ground, especially on second point. So that's why we took out Dorado.
All right, all right. I mean, I can't say I disagree. Dorado's a very angry map to play, and we've seen some pretty hardcore cheeses, so I can understand not wanting to dilly-dally on that one.
I find it a little bit suspicious. All right. Hold on. Let me just say this. I find it a little bit suspicious that you say you hate Dorado, but Paris was not a banned map. That's interesting. I'm just gonna throw it out there.
Okay,
No love for
so-
Paris on this side of the table.
I don't want to give it away, but our Paris is kind of nasty. Just saying.
Oh, okay. Well, certainly something to be keeping eyes out for in the future for Team Magna.
I mean, I think that makes...
Any scouts out there? You heard it here. You already heard it.
I mean, we all know that every team in this league reviews these VODs at least 3 times a day before they go to bed. So, like, yeah, it's understandable.
Well, I could be bluffing. You never know.
100% true. The mind games are very real. Speaking of the mind games and going through the tournament, so it was an early drop down to the lower bracket, but now it looks like y'all are doing your best to rip your way through. Let's say you have to come back into contention with the team that dropped you guys, which turned out to have been the Nevermore, which is technically possible. How would you guys, and again, no spoilers, but what would be your mentality going into that map?
So basically, a big problem that we had in our first match is that we got our, like, warm-up scrim canceled. So we kind of just went into it really, not like rusty, but it just wasn't on par with how we usually play. I definitely respect Nevermore a lot, and I'm not saying it's just because we didn't warm up, like, that's not it. But honestly, like, we fell apart mostly because of just miscommunication, because we were just going in, like, you know, cold.
All right. Well, I think I'm going to argue that that problem was definitely not present here tonight. So congratulations once again to Magna Ignis. And by the way, Waltham, I didn't
Yes.
forget this time, but I also love it when you do it. So why don't you send us out with our MVP?
Absolutely, Threep. And our MVP for tonight actually going to be Zeus. So a big congratulations to that player here. Congratulations once again to Magna Ignis for coming out and performing and winning the tournament. And thank you, a sincere thanks to Spirit for coming in and participating with us as well. Sayumi, thank you very much for coming in and answering a few questions, just goofing around with us at the end of the game.
Thank you.
All right.
All
So,
right.
ladies and
Go ahead,
gentlemen,
Threep.
this has been 3foot007. Grab me on Twitch or Twitter at 3foot007. And don't forget to tune in at 9.
Yeah, and likewise, I have been Sir Waltham. You can catch me on Twitter, Sir Waltham Gaming, Twitch, Sir Waltham. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We hope you guys have a great night, and we look forward to seeing you in about an hour.